All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a truly historic meeting of minds, a conversation between ancient wisdom and modern science. It's all based on this amazing book, The Mind's Own Physician. So let's just jump right in. This quote here from Gary Snyder, it absolutely nails the big idea of the book. I want you to picture this. Two massive glaciers, right? One is Western science, the other is this ancient contemplative tradition. For centuries, they've been carving their own separate paths. But now, they're finally starting to converge.
For centuries, these two ways of thinking have been looking at the human condition from completely opposite directions. It's kind of like explorers starting at the North and South Poles, both trying to map out the same world.
And the difference between them is, well, it's pretty stark. On one hand, you've got Western science. It's all about looking outward, right? Measuring, analyzing, and understanding the physical world we can see and touch. But then you have these contemplative traditions. And they've spent thousands of years looking inward, creating these really sophisticated maps of our inner, subjective world, the mind itself.
So, the big question is, what happens when these two massive forces stop just, moving past each other and actually start talking? Well, something totally unprecedented begins.
It really kicked off back in 1987. The Mind and Life Institute started hosting these private dialogues, and this was a huge deal. They brought the Dalai Lama into the same room with some of the top Western scientists of the day. It created this space for a kind of shared exploration that, honestly, nobody thought was even possible before. And the real spark here, the thing that made all of this work, was the Dalai Lama himself. He has this deep, lifelong passion for science. He never saw it as a threat. In fact, he saw it as just another way to get at the truth. He's even said that if science proves a piece of scripture wrong, you should go with the science. That level of openness is what made a real, genuine collaboration possible.
And this whole conversation didn't just stay behind closed doors. Oh no, it lit a fire under the scientific community. It basically took the practice of meditation out of the monastery and dropped it right into the laboratory. Now it could be studied with all the tools and rigor of modern science.
So at the very core of all this research is this idea of mindfulness. And Jon Kabat-Zinn, who's a huge figure in this whole field, gave us a really simple but powerful way to think about it. He called it paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. And that last part is key. It's not just a technique, it's really a way of being.
And this wasn't just theory. This concept was turned into a practical program called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, or MBSR. It was also created by Kabat-Zinn, and it's this brilliant 8-week, completely secular course. It takes these ancient ideas and makes them accessible to anyone, teaching real-world skills to handle the stress of, modern life.
And as programs like MBSR started showing real, clinical results, scientific interest just exploded. Seriously, you look at the number of published papers on meditation, it didn't just grow, it went exponential. That's how you know the scientific community was sitting up and taking this stuff very seriously.
But then the research started pushing boundaries. It moved beyond just stress reduction and mental health. Scientists started asking a much bigger, much more profound question. Something like, can you actually use your mind to directly change how your physical body heals?
To try and answer this, researchers set up a really clever study. They focused on psoriasis, which is a skin condition, right? It's known to get worse with stress. So the question was simple, but at the same time completely revolutionary. Could these patients actually use their minds to make their skin heal faster? And the results were, honestly, they were stunning. The patients who practiced mindfulness meditation while getting the standard light therapy, they healed, on average, 4 times faster than the group that only got the therapy. Let me say that again, 4 times faster. This wasn't just a small effect. This was a thunderclap. It was hard, concrete proof that the mind has a direct influence on the body's ability to heal. Okay, so a result like that, it changes everything. Scientists were scrambling to figure out how. How is this possible? How can the mind do that? The investigation naturally turned to the one place it could, the command center, the brain itself. And the answer, it turns out, lies in a concept called neuroplasticity. The neuroscientist Richard Davidson explains it perfectly. The big idea is that your brain is not a fixed, static thing you're stuck with. Not at all. It's constantly being shaped and rewired by your experiences, your thoughts, your habits. To put it really simply, what you think can literally change the physical structure of your brain. So when scientists actually looked at the brains of people who had been meditating for years, they found mind-blowing proof of this. For instance, They saw this huge increase in synchronized gamma waves. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of it like an orchestra where every single musician is playing in perfect harmony. It's a state of incredible brain efficiency. They also saw better communication between different parts of the brain and even physical changes in gray matter. All of this points to one thing: a brain that has been literally rewired for things like focus and emotional balance.
And this is where it gets really profound. The big takeaway from all this research is that positive qualities, things like happiness, compassion, resilience, they aren't just fixed traits that you're either born with or you're not. No, they're skills. And just like any other skill, you can train them. You can strengthen them with practice. And in doing so, you can fundamentally change your brain's default setting.
So you can see how this coming together of science and contemplative practice is way more than just some interesting academic debate. It's actually pointing toward a massive, and I think really necessary, shift in how we approach health and medicine altogether.
Think about it. We're moving away from the old model of medicine, which is basically reactive, right? You wait for something to break, then you try to discover and fix it. We're moving toward a whole new model that's proactive and personalized. It's all about prevention, about cultivating well-being, and about keeping you healthy before disease ever gets a chance to start. And what that means is a huge shift in who's responsible. In this new way of thinking, you're not just a passive patient waiting for a doctor to fix you. You become an active participant in your own health. It's a recognition that your mind, your daily habits, your inner world, they aren't separate from your physical health. They're absolutely central to it.
You know, Einstein's words here really get to the heart of this philosophy. It's about understanding that we're not just little biological machines that need a part replaced now and then. The health of our minds and our bodies are completely intertwined. And maybe even more than that, they're connected to how we relate to the world around us, to our sense of compassion for ourselves and for everyone else.
Okay, so after decades of these amazing dialogues and all this groundbreaking research, what's the bottom line? What does this historic meeting of worlds really mean for you and me?
Well, the evidence is pretty clear at this point. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern science has given us both the proof and the roadmap. It shows that every single one of us has this profound, largely untapped power to shape our own health from the inside out. Our minds can literally change our brains, help heal our bodies, and build a foundation for lasting well-being.
So really, this whole incredible journey leaves us with one powerful, very personal question. Science is proving what the contemplative traditions have known for centuries. The mind can be its own physician. So the only question that's really left is, what is your mind capable of?